Thank you. Gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized for 5 minutes.
Director Wray, thanks for being here today. On June 21st, the committee heard testimony from Special Counsel John Durham. Have you reviewed his findings, and did you dispute any of those?
I have reviewed them. There's a big multi-hundred-page binder of it sitting right to my right on my desk, and I refer to it frequently. I can't say that I'm aware of anything specific that I would dispute in it. Certainly, as you may know, not only did we fully cooperate with him in the investigation, as he noted in his report, but I actually assigned a bunch of agents and FBI personnel to work on it with him to help him. And I'm very proud of the fact that the reforms that we've put in place in response to the Inspector General's investigation, also in the Crossfire Hurricane, as well as some other changes that we made working closely with Attorney General Barr, if those reforms had been in place back at the time that all of this stuff that Special Counsel Durham found, I don't think any of this would have happened.
So the confirmation bias, which was brought up time and time again when Durham was here before the committee, you feel those have been addressed? I think Jason Jones says you put together a letter, and that includes a lot of that information. Do you feel it's adequate, or?
Well, I'm ambitious by nature for us as an organization, so we're constantly looking for more things we can do. But I'll give you an example on this issue of bias, because I think it's so important. One of the things that I did as FBI director, and I did this a couple of years ago, was in order, and this frankly, it was in reaction in many ways more to both the Hillary Clinton investigation as well as the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, was that I put in place training for the entire workforce that focused specifically not just on the importance of avoiding bias, but the importance of avoiding even the appearance of bias. And one of the things that I did to make sure that I was sending that message was that rather than like the way it normally happens in a bureaucracy where all the training gets saddled on all the folks on the front lines right out of the gates, I started with the top 200, 300 or so people in the organization, brought them all to Quantico for an entire day, stand down. We heard from the federal judiciary, the Inspector General, the Hatch Act Office of Special Counsel, and the whole point of it was the importance of not just objectivity, but making sure that we are faithful to the appearance of objectivity as well. And then we had a smaller version of that went out to the whole workforce. But the idea was to send the message that everybody at the top has to take the medicine first.
So there's two other things that were in there. Serious lack of analytical rigor was one of the other things that Durham brought up numerous times. And then I'll just, there was a noticeable departure from how the FBI approached matters involving possible attempted foreign election interference plans amid, as you just brought up, at the Clinton campaign. So the question would be, has the FBI protocol surrounding investigations, I want to know specifically in the presidential campaigns, what's the policy now? We're on the verge of another nationwide election, and I'm wondering, is there anything specific in writing that you could inform the committee of this afternoon?
Well, we put in place a whole slew of reforms that help to try to mitigate against the kind of concerns you're raising. Whether there's a specific one that I would think is I don't think there's any one that's a single silver bullet. I know that Attorney General Barr and I put in place certain reforms that dealt with particularly sensitive investigations and approvals that would have to be required before anything like that could happen. I know that was very important to him, and we worked together on that. But we have a whole slew of additional approvals, sign-offs, triple checks, safeguards, et cetera, that go into a lot of these kinds of issues. When you raise the issue of analytical rigor, obviously I talk about rigor. I bet my folks would tell you they hear the word rigor coming out of my mouth probably every single day. And that is something that we're always aspiring to get better at.
So if you had somebody within the FBI that you found out was involved in trying to manipulate or rig an election, especially at the national level, I mean, how would that be handled by the FBI? How would you handle it as a director?
Well, obviously it would depend on the specific facts as to exactly what it is the person was doing, but accepting your premise, that's the kind of thing that would have the person referred to our disciplinary process.
To be fired or terminated?
And the process would play itself out. I mean, we have a whole offense code that goes into, what different rules we have and different punishments, and there's a whole complicated system that goes into the disciplinary process. Our disciplinary process is, for the most part, I think, one of the better ones in federal law enforcement, but there is a process that we have to follow.
Has anybody that was involved in that type of action in the past been disciplined for that at the FBI?
Well, let me answer that this way. Obviously, former employees, the important point here is that all the senior managers in any way involved in the Crossfire Hurricane investigation are all gone from the FBI for a variety of reasons in a variety of ways. To the extent that there's anybody left, you're talking about a small handful of currently line-level employees, all of whom have been referred to this disciplinary process. That process, as you may have heard me say in response to an earlier exchange.
Okay. All right. So we're